Hi, and welcome to the sessions on stereochemistry. I'm very much excited to tell you about the most beautiful experiment in the history of chemistry. Yes, in this video, I will tell you about wine diamonds who changed the history of chemistry forever. We started our sessions on organic chemistry saying chemistry is everywhere. In this video, I will also tell you how we are living chiral life. It all starts with optical activity. Long back in 1815, Biot explained some substances are able to show optical activity. So what is this optical activity? Ordinary light which comes from any radiation source, it is actually able to travel in all the directions. So it is called as unpolarized light. It is made up of several components traveling in different directions. When such light is allowed to pass through a Nicol prism, we get something called as plane polarized light, abbreviated as PPL. So this plane polarized light consists of that component which travels in only one direction. And there are some substances. This term chiral came later on, but Biot showed that there are some substances in which if plane polarized light is passed, they are able to rotate this light. They can do it either clockwise or anti-clockwise. So such substances which rotate plane polarized light are called as optically active. So it was acceptable that some substances are optically active, some substances are optically inactive. The puzzle was, how can same substance be sometime optically active and sometimes not optically active? This puzzle was because of wine diamonds. Yes, tartaric acid, when it is present as a salt with potassium, which occurs naturally in the grapes. So when wine is allowed to store for longer time, there is a deposition of potassium tartarate crystals, the tiny and shiny crystals. These are known as wine diamonds. So they were known from a longer period of time, and these crystals, if dissolved and exposed to plain polarized light, they were optically active. But there was another byproduct during this wine production, which was that time called as paratartarate, chemically similar to this potassium tartarate. But when this component was dissolved and focused with plane polarized light, it did not rotate. So same substance, when it is deposited as crystals in the wine barrels, it was optically active. But same substance, when it was produced as a byproduct during wine production, it was not optically active. So it was a big puzzle in front of the scientists that tartarate and paratartrate both are same, but how they are showing differences in the optical activity. So here I want to tell you about the scientists who helped solve this puzzle. Yes, Louis Pasteur, widely known as a chemical linguist because what he discovered became a separate branch of science which has its own language. Louis Pasteur gave rise to a different language which changed the history of chemistry. As you might be already knowing, Louis Pasteur worked a lot in chemistry as well as microbiology. He is credited for his germ theory of disease. He developed vaccines against rabies and anthrax, and everybody knows about the pasteurization process. So it was when he was about 25 years old, he submitted his doctoral thesis, and within few months he solved this mystery of wine diamonds. So he holds a special place in the hearts of all the chemists for giving a new branch of this chemistry called as stereochemistry. Let's see how he did it. Pasteur was an artist too, so he was able to see the minute details in anything. What he did, he initially studied potassium tartarate crystals under the microscope. All of them were of same kind. He later on took para-tartarate crystals, and what he observed to his surprise, that there are some crystals which were having a particular face of them on the right hand side, while some of the crystals were having that face which is highlighted red out here, it is on the left hand side. So he gave rise to these terms that some crystals were left-handed, some crystals were right-handed, and he literally took forceps and he separated manually those right-handed and left-handed crystals. So he thought, if tartaric acid is consisting of only one type of crystals, they were optically active, but this para-tartrate, which is a mixture of two types of crystals, so this compound is possessing some property, in fact two properties, left-handedness and right-handedness. When they are present in equal proportion, they cancel out each other. So para-tartrate do not rotate plane polarized light. So in fact para-tartrate was a racemic mixture. Louis Pasteur was a French chemist and microbiologist. So the original microscope and pair of tweezers is kept in the museum at Paris. Few years back, when American Chemical Society took a poll of scientific experts about the most beautiful experiment in the history of chemistry, this experiment of Louis Pasteur about manual separation of mirror image molecular forms of tartaric acid received highest ranking. Yes, he was only 25 years old, just submitted his PhD, and he gave birth to a completely different science which we now called as stereochemistry. But Pasteur did not stop only solving this puzzle of tartaric acid. He was thinking, why optical activity exists and from where it comes from. Is it because of some cosmic influences like light, electricity, magnetism, heat? So he carried out several experiments like growing different crystals in the magnetic fields and seeing the effect on optical activity. He even planted some seeds and irradiated them with initially one type of light and then light inverted with the mirror. Even Biot advised him to stop such kind of experiments, but Pasteur admitted that one has to be little mad if you want to search something really very interesting. So this is about Louis Pasteur experiment which gave rise to stereochemistry, and now we can observe stereochemistry everywhere. Yes, inside our cells, in the DNA. Even we know proteins are the building blocks of our body, but they take only L form of amino acids. Yes, our body is able to select only a left-handed variety of the chiral amino acids. So Pasteur was thinking, is it because of a pure chance, or who is determining it? In his honor, French government also circulated a banknote of 5 French francs where you can see image of the Pasteur as well as Pasteur Institute, which is in Paris, still in existence today also. He is perhaps the only scientist apart from Marie Curie which have received this honor. Pasteur being father of the modern science, there was the biggest expo held from December 2017 to August 2018 where all his discoveries and experiments they were exhibited. So, are we living a chiral life? During his experiments, like in 1857, Pasteur studied fermentation of tartaric acid with the help of microorganisms. He kept both the isomers, right-handed and left-handed isomers for fermentation, but he found that out of this mixture, only a right-handed isomer was getting fermented. So, living organisms could distinguish between the two isomers, though it was a mixture, and they selectively fermented only this. So Pasteur wrote that molecular chirality is a unique property of a living systems. But in chemicals also, we observe chirality. So he eventually concluded that every chemical substance, whether it is natural or artificial, it will fall in either of the two major categories, and that categories are based upon plane of symmetry. Some substances possess plane of symmetry while other substances do not. So the one who possess, they are from mineral sources, and the one who are asymmetric, who don't possess plane of symmetry, they come from the living world. And you will see all the sugars, that is carbohydrates, amino acids, peptides, proteins, enzymes, DNA, everything is chiral. There are selectively only particular isomers present in all these things, and human body as well as animals, they are able to, means any living thing, they are able to distinguish between these isomers. Life is chiral. As a pharmacy student, you have an extra responsibility that you not only have to study stereochemistry, but you have to implement it in all the stages of drug discovery, because more than 50% of the currently used drugs, they are chiral in nature, means they exist in different isomers, and there are pharmacokinetic as well as pharmacodynamic differences, because when patient consumes these drugs, our living system, our receptors, enzymes, they are able to distinguish between these pair of isomers. And it has been found that in case of certain drugs, only one of the isomer is active while other isomer is inactive or lesser potent, or it has completely opposite action, or it has completely different action unrelated to its isomer. Even it will have different bioavailability, absorption, metabolism, excretion. That is why different pharma companies have witnessed chiral switches in the last few decades. Some drugs which were earlier given as a racemic mixture, eventually it was found out that out of that mixture only one isomer is active, another is say toxic. So they have to switch from providing racemic mixture to now pure enantiomer. The most tragedy, you can say, with chiral substances has happened with thalidomide. During 1950s to 60s, thalidomide was the drug prescribed to the pregnant women against vomiting, that is for treating morning sickness and other elements related to the pregnancy. Now this drug actually consists of two isomers, and only one isomer was antiemetic while another isomer was so much disastrous that it has caused impaired limb growth in the newborn babies, and it has affected several lives. So after that, FDA became strict about having presence of such chiral impurities in the drug that has to be addressed, as well as different asymmetric synthesis for synthesizing only one particular isomer, also researched and put into practice. Can you believe there is one sweetener? I want you all to find it out and write in the comment section. There is one sweetener which is chiral. It exists in the form of isomers. Some isomers are sweet, some isomers are bitter. Which is that sweetener? Our test buds, they are also chiral, so they are able to distinguish between these isomers. Find it out and write your answer in the comment section. So I hope you find it useful as well as you find it interesting. These are some sources for the information as well as images used in this presentation. Stay tuned to Pharmacochemistry Vibes. Next few sessions, we are going to study chirality in detail. Till then, take care. Goodbye.